On the flip side, though, Europe has also said that they are preparing for retaliation when these tariffs hit across the world for the products that are basically being imported into the United States of America. Check it out.
Today, I would like to focus on the threats to global prosperity and stability, thus our competitiveness, and the rise of protectionism. And as our domestic agenda cannot be seen separately from global developments around us, let me start with the US tariffs. When the dream of a united Europe began, it started with a very simple idea. Let's create one single market. Let's break barriers, take tariffs down. That is what made us strong. Because our companies grew, and so did the ties that bind us together. And then in the same spirit, we worked with partners across the world, including the United States. We built strong connections that we believed were unbreakable. And trade brought more than prosperity. It brought the idea of a shared way of life. And with commerce, our partnership has also grown. Countless are the friendships across the Atlantic. And because of this collective experience of the last, almost 75 years, so many Europeans feel utterly disheartened by the announcement from the United States. Let me be clear. Europe did not start this confrontation. We think it is wrong. But my message to you today is that we have everything we need to protect our people and our prosperity. We have the largest single market in the world. We have the strength to negotiate. We have the power to push back. And the people of Europe should know that together we will always promote and defend our interests and our values, and together we will always stand up for our Europe.
So I don't understand a lot of times, and again, give me a little bit of rope because maybe I'm a little bit more misogynistic than normal. Why do these countries elect female leaders? And nobody is scared. Nobody is scared. Nobody is afraid. Nobody thinks that, oh my God, whatever it is that Europe has to offer that we don't already manufacture it here in the United States of America, or we're going to do without. But basically, Europe is just saying that, listen, we want to stand up to this. We don't necessarily agree with the tariffs. Of course, you don't agree with the tariffs because we are the ones that are subsidizing the world. And so they are saying that they are preparing to retaliate with tariffs or fines of their own against the Trump administration or the American people.
The US administration has announced a 25% increase of tariffs on imports of steel and aluminium, cars and car parts. The next sectors facing tariffs will be semiconductors, pharmaceuticals and timber. And tomorrow we expect another announcement with so-called reciprocal tariffs that will immediately apply to almost all goods and many countries in the world. Of course, there are severe issues in the world of trade, without any question. Overcapacities, we know about the imbalances, we see unfair subsidies, denial of market access, or the IP theft. And I hear Americans when they say some others have taken advantage of the rules.
Now, do you understand what I'm saying? When she's saying IP theft, that means that we then have to partner with somebody inside of your country to make sure that you guys can also bolster and build your own companies instead of just taking the products that we give you or take the products that we sell you and then be able to develop or compete on your own. No, that's not what they do. What they do is they steal. They charge you a fine. They make sure that if you want to do business over in their country and in their economies, that you have to partner, and then they then steal your intellectual property while doing it and then help themselves to continue to develop and become powerhouses of the future of their own. When you see these Chinese cars, where do you think that they got the technology initially to even start making cars when they were so far behind, and the things that they were putting together had nothing to do? It was not even close to being reasonable for what an American would actually buy. It was all copycat stuff. They did not know how to engineer cars correctly. They did not know how to engineer trucks correctly. It was absolutely abysmal. And so not only did we subsidize the economy, not only did we build them up to be a powerhouse manufacturer, not only are people trading on the United States of America and saying, hey, listen, no, man, I want this car. Let's bring it over to the United States of America. Not only is that happening, but they are also finessing the United States of America for a long time. And this is exactly what she's speaking to.
I agree. We also suffer from it. So let's work on it. But tariffs across the board make things worse, not better. Tariffs are taxes that will be paid by the people. Tariffs are taxes for the Americans on their groceries and their medication. Tariffs will just fuel inflation, exactly the opposite of what we wanted to achieve. American factories will pay more for components that are produced in Europe. This will cost jobs. It will create a bureaucratic monster of new customs procedures. And today, nobody needs that, neither in the United States nor in Europe. So, our strategy builds on 3 pillars. First, we are open to negotiations.
Actually, what it does is it bolsters the American economy because it then incentivizes people to actually buy from Americans.
We will approach these negotiations from a position of strength. Europe holds a lot of cards, from trade to technology to the size of our market. But this strength is also built on our readiness to take firm countermeasures if necessary. All instruments are on the table. Second, we will keep diversifying our trade with other partners. You mentioned it, Antonio. Our hallmark is not only that we are the biggest market in the world, but that we are reliable and predictable. We honor our commitments. And that is exactly what our partners are looking for today. And my third point, we will double down on our single market. The single market is the cornerstone of European integration and values. It's our powerful catalyst for growth, for prosperity, for solidarity. But we have to tear down remaining barriers to have a single market to go big, because scale matters, and a single market to go fast and to go far. Now to the first point. Our immediate response to tariffs is unity and determination.
I want to show you guys something really quickly. I just pulled this up, and it's not even a part of the show, but I just pulled this up because I want to actually show you where the trade deficit lies and why we need to support American automakers and American products versus supporting products from overseas. All right, check this out. So, according to AI, which includes the BBC, ACA, and so on and so forth, right? Skip the first part because it's not going to really be able to have anything measurable because this measures it down here, right? Increase compared to the previous year, U.S. EU automobile trade, all right? 2018, which is exponentially higher now. In 2018, the EU exported basically 1.15 million cars to the United States of America. And this is just cars. This is not even other products. 1.15 million cars in 2018 alone, and it increases every single year. To the U.S., which is about 37.3 billion euros exported, sold here, sent here, and they think that they did something. While the U.S. exported 267. That's a massive difference. Cars to the EU worth about $5.5 billion, which is roughly a almost $32 billion difference between what the United States of America is exporting over to Europe versus what Europe is exporting over to America. It also goes on to say that the U.S. is the second largest market for EU vehicle exports after the UK. The EU is the U.S.'s second largest export market. Now, imagine the amount of jobs that would be created. Imagine the type of investment that would be required if they actually took what they make and what they export, right, and phased that out or made people pay a tariff and pay a premium on whatever it is that was going to come over here. And we spent more time, more money, and more resources actually rocking out with American-made companies. Imagine that. We export 267,000 cars there. They export 1.15 million vehicles to the United States of America alone. That is worth the equivalent, and this is in 2018. This is in 2018. 37.3 billion euros versus 5.5 billion for the United States of America. I would say that it definitely is a trade deficit, and we need to be careful about saying things against the Trump administration because it is not true.
I have already been in contact with our heads of state and government on the next steps. We have this parliamentary debate now here today, and we will assess tomorrow the announcements very carefully to calibrate our response. Our objective is a negotiated solution. But of course, if need be, we will protect our interests, our people and our companies. And I want to be very clear on the aim of our response. We think that this confrontation is in no one's interest. The flow of goods and services between us, the United States and Europe, is nearly balanced. Of course, we are willing to work on the trade balance of goods as...
Did I miss something? Am I off? I could be off. Did I miss something? That don't even look nowhere near balanced to me. It's nearly balanced. No, it's pretty lopsided if you ask me.
As well as on the trade balance of services. This is the largest and most prosperous trade relation worldwide. We would all be better off if we could find a
Canada said the same thing. Basically, they all just taking advantage of the United States of America.
Constructive solution. At the same time, it also has to be clear. Europe has not started this confrontation. We do not necessarily want to retaliate, but if it is necessary, we have a strong plan to retaliate and we will use it. The second element of our strategy is diversification. Trade goes to where the business case is. We will open doors towards fast-growing markets across the world. Europe already has trade agreements in place with 76 countries, and we are now growing this network. We just concluded trade deals with Mercosur, Mexico and Switzerland. We launched the first ever clean trade and investment partnership with South Africa. We aim to conclude a trade agreement with India by the end of this year. We are in intense negotiations with Indonesia and Thailand. And later this week, President Costa and I will head to Samarkand for the first ever summit between the European Union and Central Asia. Europe has always been a trading continent. So let's connect with the beating hearts of the global economy. Our message is clear. Europe is reliable, Europe is predictable, and Europe is open for business.
Congratulations. But a simple search and a little bit of research would tell you that we are the ones that are catching the bad end of the stick. And Trump has been trying to warn us for a long time that we no longer make anything inside of the United States of America that the rest of the world wants, but they taking advantage of our dollar and our people and our proprietary technology. And she even admitted it in the beginning of her speech. So what are we to do? Are we to just sit there and let them to continue to take advantage of us while we continue to run up a trade deficit? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We are going to buy American first, and we are going to diversify our own economy by making sure that we build things inside the United States of America.